The hidden camera. Mark and his wife, Sophie, had been married for 6 years. From the outside, their life looked perfect. Nice apartment, stable jobs, weekend trips together. But recently, something had changed. Sophie had become distant, cold. She spent more time on her phone than talking to Mark. And sometimes she would suddenly leave the room to answer calls. Mark tried not to think about it, but the thought slowly crept into his mind. Is she cheating? One night, Mark came home earlier than usual. The apartment was empty, but Sophie had told him she would be home all evening. He frowned. Maybe she went out to buy groceries. But then something caught his attention. A small blinking light on the bookshelf. Mark walked closer. It was a tiny camera. His heart skipped a beat. Why would Sophie install a camera in the living room? He muttered. Curious. He removed the memory card and inserted it into his laptop. The video opened. At first, it showed normal things. Sophie watching TV. Sophie cleaning the apartment. But then, another clip started, and Mark froze. The video showed Sophie opening the apartment door. A man walked in behind her. They laughed. They hugged. Then they kissed. Mark felt his chest tighten. His worst fear was real. Sophie was cheating. In their own home. On their couch. Mark sat there for nearly an hour, staring at the screen, his mind filled with anger, pain, betrayal. But something strange bothered him. Why would Sophie record her own affair? It didn't make sense. Unless the camera wasn't for memories. It was for evidence. That night Sophie returned home around 9 p.m. Mark was sitting calmly on the couch. The laptop was closed beside him. Hey, Sophie said. Hey. She smiled nervously. How was your day? Interesting, Mark replied. She frowned slightly. Why? Mark slowly turned the laptop toward her and pressed play. The video began. Sophie's face instantly went pale. Mark, I can explain. Mark crossed his arms. I'd love to hear that explanation. Sophie started crying. It's not what you think. Mark laughed bitterly. You kissed him. She nodded. Yes. You brought him into our home. She nodded again. Yes. Mark stood up slowly. So explain. Sophie wiped her tears. That man, his name is Alex. Mark waited. He's a private investigator. Mark blinked in confusion. A private investigator? Sophie nodded. Yes. Mark frowned. Why would a private investigator be kissing you on my couch? Sophie hesitated. Then she said something shocking. Because I hired him. Mark felt his stomach drop. You hired a private investigator? She nodded slowly. Yes. Mark's voice became tense. To investigate who? Sophie looked directly at him. You. The room went completely silent. What are you talking about? Mark said. Sophie took a deep breath. For months, money has been disappearing from our joint account. Mark's heart started pounding. Thousands of dollars. She continued. At first I thought it was a mistake. Then her voice became colder. But the bank showed me something. Mark swallowed. What? Sophie whispered the truth. The money was being sent to another woman. Mark felt the world spin around him. Sophie continued. The investigator followed you. Her voice trembled. And he found out you've been seeing her for almost a year. Mark couldn't speak. Every lie he had told suddenly felt like a trap closing around him. Sophie pointed at the screen. That video wasn't proof of my cheating. She paused. It was proof that the investigator came to show me the evidence about you. At that moment, someone knocked on the apartment door. Mark looked toward it slowly. Sophie walked over and opened it. The same man from the video stood there. Alex. But this time he wasn't smiling. Behind him stood another woman. Mark's secret girlfriend. She looked furious. Sophie turned back to Mark, tears in her eyes. You thought I was the one cheating. She paused. But the truth, her voice cracked, was that it was you all along.